Whether it be in physics, chemistry, biology, astronomy, and any other type of E, in science there are many unknowns, but sometimes the greatest mystery lies within ourselves. The brain is the most complex thing in the human body, and as you would suspect, is being studied extensively, but sometimes is being studied in unusual ways. Although science and magic cannot seem further apart, scientists are studying how the brain is fooled by magic, and their findings are contributing to advancements in safety and medicine. You may ask, how are science and magic related? Well, science and magic are very different, science being the precise study of nature, and magic being somewhat of a reliance on unnatural phenomena. They both come together to study the brain. Science studying how magic affects the brain, and determining how the brain works. This scientific study leads to advances in safety and medicine. You may ask, how is the brain fooled? Well, let's start from square one. Compared to a camera, our eyes see less in terms of resolution, or how sharp an image is. But while the camera sees more, our experience is much more rich. For example, looking at a photograph is much less realistic than looking at something in real life. This is because the brain fills in the gaps that our eyes can't perceive. And this is one way the brain can be fooled. When we look at something, our brain enriches it according to the normal order of things. But what if something was not normal? For example, what if we see a car parked behind a barn, and we only see half of the car? We assume the whole is present, says Science News for Kids, but in reality, only half the car could be there. The brain takes these shortcuts and is therefore sometimes wrong. Another way it is fooled is through distraction. When the brain is preoccupied with something, it doesn't see because it fills in our information incorrectly. In Science News for Kids article, they talk about an experiment called the invisible gorilla, where a person is asked to watch a video of a basketball team passing a ball back and forth. They were asked to record how many times a certain person receives the ball. And during the experiment, a man in a gorilla suit walks into the middle of the court, beats his chest, and walks off. And surprisingly, half of all people do not notice it's there, which is really weird. But how is this useful to real life? In more cases than just this, knowing how something fails can lead to making something better. For example, it could aid in making better alert systems, because if we know what distracts us, we could make something that pulls our attention. It could also help with patients with brain damage focus, by turning what distracts them into the object of focus, but these are only some of the uses. As you can see, magic, what sometimes seems to be the opposite of science, actually contributes to our knowledge of science and how the brain works. So maybe in the end, science and magic aren't that different after all.